Awesome. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for having us. Oh, this mic's better than you said.
Yeah, good
Very
morning.
Good. I can hear. All right. Laurie needs no introduction, but I'll introduce myself briefly. I'm Remy Stiles, CEO of North America for Kepler. We are a marketing agency. The future in focus is our tagline, which I think really represents our DNA. Innovation, data, and technology is at our core. We grew out of the programmatic space about 13 years ago and have been focused on pushing the boundaries of technology and media ever since. So I'm thrilled to be here with a brand that focuses on speed and agility and innovation and pushing forward in their category. Laurie, you want to briefly introduce yourself and then we'll get in?
Sure. I'm the Chief Brand Officer at e.l.f. Beauty, which is a multi-branded global portfolio of brands that include the namesake brands e.l.f. and e.l.f. Skin, as well as our brands Well People, Key Soul Care, and Natorium.
Awesome. So eyes, lips, and face. To serve every eyes, lips, and face, e.l.f. Beauty needs to be everywhere. That means being in unexpected and exciting places, being in the cultural and community moments that are important to your community. That means a whole lot of things to e.l.f. I think you've shown up in a whole bunch of places: NASCAR, Roblox, NWSL, Super Bowl. It's quite amazing what the brand has been able to do in the past few years. How does your team decide where you are going to focus, where you're going to plug in, what those moments are that really matter?
Yeah, well, I think one of the things is when you have a brand name like e.l.f. and it's E.l.F. standing for eyes, lip, face, you actually are for the every eye, lip, and face. So oftentimes people say, how are you here? And why are you doing this? And why is this important to you? We lean into for the every. So where our community is and what they're interested in, where they show up and where they're having conversations and dialogues, that's also where we recognize the power of community and the power of authenticity to be able to connect with them in those environments and also gain new audiences at the same time, and galvanize them.
Yep. Amazing. We heard you speaking a bit yesterday about social listening and how you monitor where those moments are.
Right.
Can you speak about that for?
Right. Social listening is actually to the core of the company, and it actually is rooted in how we started. So for those of you who don't know, e.l.f. is actually a 20-year-old brand, and it was founded by a father and son duo that wanted to sell premium quality cosmetics over the internet for $1 in 2004. Even now, that would be a wild idea. So it's rooted in this sense of disruption, but it's also rooted in dreams. It's rooted in an aspiration, and it's also rooted in community first and digital first. So by doing that, our founders almost unlocked what was ratings and reviews before it was called ratings and reviews, by having their ear to the ground and being able to say, hey, I tried this dollar brow liner, but I just wish it did this. And all of those things actually fueled an incredible innovation pipeline in terms of listening to what the community wants and being able to deliver that to the community. So that's sort of been that is very much integral to our history and our brand story. And it has remained that way over the last 20 years. So, listening and social listening is just really part of who we are as a brand. It's not something we just started to do more recently because that's what you should be doing, is listening to your community. It's something that's rooted in our DNA.
Yeah. But being able to activate on that quickly is a challenge, and it seems like you're able to do that very well, like taking those insights that you're hearing from culture and from your community and actually getting product to market fairly quickly.
Yeah, it's almost like, we do have a formula, and I think that's if you are able to listen and hear what it is and actually build an organization that is shaped around being a bold disruptor and shaped on wanting to actually create to almost like your community is a megaphone to what it is that you're going to activate on. And if you can actually shape your organization to be able to do that and build it so that you can get your legal on your side, right? Have a
is key. That
is a very integral part. But have your teams almost lined up so that you're coming together in huddles and you're deciding what is it that we want to go after? Where do we see a signal, as you said, that is where our community is, or it's an insight that we've always found to be interesting, and we go after it at full throttle, and you don't really worry too much about waiting for the numbers or the metrics to guide you. You guide yourself a little bit on this art of gut and instinct.
Yeah, love that. Back to the moments you show up, you've partnered with NASCAR drivers, astronauts. How have you chosen those moments and those partnerships?
Yeah.
Where did those ideas spark from?
It goes back to our ethos and our ethos around democratizing access to dreams. And if you think about each of these individuals that you're, or these partners and individuals that you're talking about, whether it's NASCAR and Indy, whether it's Catherine Legg, who's the 9th female racer in Indy 108-year history, or you're talking about Amanda Nguyen, who's actually an incredible, I don't even know how to describe her, because to me, she is a multi-hyphenate, but she's also a symbol of resilience. And when we partner with individuals like this, and whether we partner with them or we take it even to Billie Jean King, who is an icon, all these individuals have stood for something. And it's mostly stood for standing up in their own and also defying any labels. And I think that's an important part. And they all have a dream too. And to help someone achieve that dream, or to be able to use your strength of your platform and your community to do that, that's something that e.l.f. finds just part of their core of how we operate today.
Yeah. It feels very consistent for how I understand the e.l.f. brand, and being more than a beauty brand and showing up in all of those same ways. So very brand aligned.
I just realized we have an incredible fan hitting us.
I know.
And it's just hitting us in perfect ways.
Okay, so we can't be up here without talking about the So Many Dicks campaign. You are up for many awards this week. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's an absolutely fabulous campaign. Certainly outside the lines of what we have typically seen from a beauty brand. I think one of my favorite campaigns I've ever seen, if I will say so. How I would love to hear just a little bit more, like, where did this idea come from? How did you decide to sort of push this far and take this bold move of a campaign?
So Many Dicks was actually built off of where we saw our incredible performance. We are coming off the back of 25 consecutive quarters of growth. And what makes it so remarkable is we're one of 564 publicly traded companies that can actually say that we've had 25 consecutive quarters of growth that average over 20% in net sales growth. So, and it's also market share growth. So this incredible journey of growth, coupled with the fact that we're the number one stock on the New York Stock Exchange, which is a big deal. And all these signals started sharing with us, wow, this was not by mistake. This was not by accident. This was actually by design of our CEO, who has built a board of directors that is, at the time when we launched this campaign, it was 78% women and 44% diverse. And what would happen if we actually were able to champion for other companies to join us in creating boards that reflected their community? Because those are the highest seats of decision-making power, is the board. So we created a campaign, and it was called So Many Dicks. The genesis for the campaign name, which I know is very cheeky, beyond cheeky. I know it's audacious, it's bold, it might be a little naughty too. But it actually comes off the fact that there are so many dicks on U.S. boards. And by dicks, I don't mean what you think. I mean men named Richard, Rick, and Rich. There are more dicks named Richard, Rick, or Rich than actually underrepresented groups of people. Just let that sink in for a minute. So when you think about that, how can you actually try to foster that positive impact? And we really hope that other companies will join us. So more than a campaign, which is you saw So Many Dicks, it's part of a larger coalition that we call Change the Board Game. And Change the Board Game is to actually democratize access to the boards and put more women and people of color onto boards.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable insight. And
thank you.
Yeah. It's really fabulous. So where does that go from here? What's next? How are you going to keep pushing?
That's only the beginning.
Yeah, I hope so.
That is only. We're only getting started on this. We've actually made a commitment to ourselves. We started this about 2 years ago. It was actually one of our longest campaigns to build, I will say. Because it takes time, and we wanted to strike with brilliance, and we wanted to strike when the timing was right, such as when we were the number one performing stock on the New York Stock Exchange. Because then you have the credit and you have the receipts to actually prove that boardroom diversity is measured in profits and your performance, right? When you can actually measure it that way, it becomes undeniable, making facts your friends. So this is the beginning of our journey. Change the Board Game. We've actually even worked with the NACD, this National Association for Corporate Directors, to actually put women and people of color through a program to get them board ready so that we can actually help create that funnel for it. And that's just one part of it. But this journey is going to continue. So stay tuned. And, if you're interested, of course, you can check out Change the Board Game on e.l.f. Beauty's website.
Yeah, absolutely fabulous. How far is too far for the brand? Well, is this what we can continue to expect from e.l.f. moving forward?
I think you can always expect us to be core to who we are, which is we seek out to be bold disruptors with kind hearts. We seek out to disrupt norms, shape community, shape culture, and connect communities. And through that facet, I think we are bold, we are audacious. And if you take that back to even the origin story that I'm sharing with you, we're a 20-year-old brand. And when you're 20 years old, if you could remember when you were 20, but also you can also remember if you have children who are 20, right? They are bold. You have a renegade spirit. You have a strong bias for action. You're going to go after what you believe in. And that's really been who e.l.f. is at the core, which is why we chase after this incredible, what people would say, oh, well, how do you think of these ideas? Half the time it's our community actually feeding them to us.
Yeah. Awesome. Along the lines of slightly less bold, but maybe unexpected moves, you've been in the Super Bowl the past few years.
Yes.
Which, some might say, how did you come up with that decision? I think we know obviously the Super Bowl has massive reach, but would love to hear about how you came to that conclusion, what data sort of drove you to be there, or what insight led to showing up.
Well, the first time we went into the Super Bowl, there were, I would say, almost visibly no beauty ads that were no beauty companies that were there doing that. And if you think about the Super Bowl audience, it's actually 50% women.
Yep.
But if you think about the ads and the commercials that you're joining in for, they're actually not, right? And I see a lot of head nods here. It's cars, it's insurance, it's pharma. Not that those things aren't important to women, but beer. But there really wasn't a lot speaking to that audience. So we came in a very entertaining way, which is actually true to who e.l.f. is at the core. We took, at that time, the stickiest product, which is our Power Grip Primer, which grips your makeup, which is something you really need in this kind of weather. It can. But we took the stickiest product. We took the stickiest sporting event, inarguably, in U.S. And we also took the stickiest star, which was Jennifer Coolidge coming off of White Lotus. And we took those three elements and really created a trifecta, but connected the constellation between the three of them. And we went in the Super Bowl to actually address the other half of the market that wasn't being addressed.
Yeah. Fabulous. And it worked?
And it worked really well. It worked really well. It was an incredible campaign, over 70 billion impressions. But more than that, it actually did a lot for our awareness and also positive sentiment in our brand.
Yeah, and super smart. Women hold a lot of the spending power. So
incredibly. And then the next year, we saw about 7 to 8 beauty brands come in. So you're welcome.
Yeah, set the tempo, set the pace. Well done. How are you thinking about sports more broadly? Is the category important to e.l.f., an area we can expect to continue to see e.l.f. show up? Yeah,
sports is very important. And when I would hone in to say women's sports specifically, about 70%, 1 in 7 people, households or individuals actually do watch sports. And unbeknownst to most of us, we mostly think that it's women watching women's sports. But that's actually not. It's actually around the same. It's 75% women and 71% men actually watch women's sports. So clearly there is an audience for that. And aside from the audience that I know that we can reach as brands, it's more so also what we know about the sentiment. And it's not about doing the noble act. It's about doing what's right. We know that girls actually drop out at 2 times the rate of boys by the age of 14. And we also know that 94% of C-suite executives have played a sport professionally in some way. Yep. So when you take who your audience is, but you also think about who the athletes are that you're watching, we've actually created an incredible pathway to support these young athletes and support girls and keep them in sports and keep them active so that they could aspire to more amazing things. So, whether it's supporting a wrestling event in Missouri, which we did with young girls, high school girls, or whether it's going into the Indy or NASCAR to show that a woman can actually be in the driver's seat. These are all incredible feats for us that we continue to support, including the you want to talk about the women's soccer league? That's the same thing. It all concludes in the same place.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting because, I think beauty brands historically haven't been in sports, but especially from a women's sport perspective, many of the athletes wear makeup while they're playing, right? And so you're seeing it live as you're supporting those teams. So you mentioned the NWSL. You're the first beauty brand to partner with the NWSL. Can you talk a little bit about that partnership, what it means for the brand, where that's going?
Yeah, again, it's
a women's soccer league.
Yeah, of course, it's core to our purpose too. You heard why we do it and why it's so important for us. And for us, we found that being able to do that and authentically connect with the soccer players is also incredibly rewarding for us. Like, we're learning so much, and you just mentioned it yourself. A lot of the athletes actually really like wearing makeup, and they shouldn't, and they all have a very unique journey, right? And some of them were shamed into thinking they could not wear makeup on the field. And that couldn't be more true, because it's just an ability to express yourself. And that's one of the things that when they discover e.l.f. or they've been e.l.f. fans, they're really excited to see the way that we actually embrace not only the players, but also the fandom that comes with sports, right? The fandom that's in the arena, the excitement around it. It's a family event, but it's also that fandom is very rooted in positivity, inclusivity, and accessibility, which is important facets for us.
Yep, yep. It's also very inspiring for the next generation. You watch NWSL games, and there's a sideline of young girls in their favorite, player's jersey with their parents and their signs, supporting. And that's a big customer base for you as well. So that feels very intentional and brand aligned. Mm-hmm. Yeah. As a mother myself, I have 2 kids. Not quite at the age ready for e.l.f., but my daughter's asking. She steals all my makeup, which I know is another thing that you
happens to
find
me
commonly. Too. So I really appreciate your role as a brand showing up for younger generations in that in an authentic way, in a way that empowers them, makes them feel good about themselves. Talk about how you support those younger generations. You did a Roblox execution around financial literacy. Would love to hear more.
It was incredible. Our journey with Roblox started in 2023, and we went in there not knowing what we were going to do, quite frankly. But we actually went in there and we created incredible environments for individuals to enjoy their gameplay. And we're now up to 23 million gameplays, which is incredibly exciting considering we started the journey 2 years ago. And the most recent one that we launched, and we continue to actually feed Roblox and feed the environment to actually help young creators and help entrepreneurs. So the latest one was called Fortune Island, and we actually changed our logo to actually represent what we were trying to do. And we were actually trying to teach financial literacy and financial wellness through this. So by teaching them how to invest, teaching them how to save money, how to budget accordingly, and it's been incredible. We reached about 1,000 people, I think, in our first week alone, in helping them to level up their financial literacy.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. How else do you lean in and tap into the younger audience? I mean, Gen Alpha, maybe Gen Z, but the younger audience as well, the next generation of customers.
I think one of the ways we do it is definitely with the brands that we collaborate with as well. I think that we're able to authentically really reach a new, unique audience that may not have been beauty or necessarily buying e.l.f. For example, last year we did a collaboration with American Eagle, and it was really incredible because e.l.f. is actually the number 1 favored cosmetic brand for teens. And we've been that way. Piper Sandler consecutively, we've had our 7th consecutive quarter and been able to gain mind share with this audience. And what's incredible about that is that when we do these incredible collaborations, whether it's Chipotle, which was our first one that got us 4 billion impressions, we top that with Dunkin' Donuts on the, and Wake Up with Coffee, right? Yep. And Wake Up. But 5 billion impressions. And we continue to top that. And even last year, we worked with American Eagle, we were number 1 Gen Z favorite makeup brand, still are. Yep. And American Eagle is number 1 denim brand. So we brought our 2 worlds together in a really unique way and to reach our audience together collectively. And that's one way that we also continue to entertain, and we keep them really excited to come back to the brand, and they don't never know what to expect from e.l.f.
Yep. Love that. That's amazing. So we've talked a lot about, sports, gaming, culture. e.l.f. has also showed up at some maybe unexpected ways from a film and an entertainment perspective.
Oh, yes.
Last year was Cosmetic Criminals. I saw Sunhinged from a few weeks ago. I guess let's start with Cosmetic Criminals. I would love, share a little bit about the film and about the idea.
Cosmetic Criminals, which is still available on Amazon Freebie, is actually one of my favorite campaigns. So what we learned at the genesis for that campaign is we actually learned that there's a lot of multi-generational appeal with e.l.f. And we know that, right? We're number 1 Gen Z favorite brand, as I mentioned, but we're also the number 1 purchased by Millennial and also number 1 purchased by Gen X. So we have this ability to actually cross and deepen our penetration with each household. In fact, right now we're 1 in we're in one of every 3 households. And knowing that we can actually reach from the grandma all the way down to your 12-year-old child who knows about it because they heard about our sunblock or they watched Sunhinge. So what we did was we took that insight, and we took the insight that actually not only were now, you know, as a daughter, I was always taking my mom's makeup and hiding it, but now it's the other way around. The mom is taking the daughter's makeup and learning from her, from, you know, if it's a TikTok trend, and hiding the makeup. We actually found our audience talking about something that was called e.l.f. pinching. E.l.f. pinching, which is you're borrowing someone's makeup from your household with no intention of returning it, ever. And people were hiding it in their freezer. They were hiding it in books. They were trying to hide it from their family members. And so we created a if you will, a documentary parody that was star-studded, but it was an incredible journey because it actually reflected what our community was telling us in terms of intergenerational cost crime. And it's a whodunit series. You're going to love it. I would say definitely watch it. We didn't just take it that far to create a 15-minute documentary. We actually went as far as to put it into movie theaters as well, reaching over 12 million moviegoers. So we created a film that really reached a lot of waves, and people just felt seen.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
My daughter already has an entire little bag of makeup from mine that she's taken and stolen. What's the most pinched product? Do you know?
I would say at this point I would say Glow Reviver lip oil, which is our $8 lip oil, is very much pinched. It appeals to everyone.
Yeah. I'm sure friends.
And we
pinch
do,
too.
and we make it clear too. So we have it. We've seen. I mean, my husband loves it. So.
That's awesome. That's very good. And then Sunhinge, such an important insight, I think,
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, that it was sort of anchored in the insight around Gen Z, needing to focus more on sun care.
They were not wearing sunblock. They're not wearing sunblock.
Criminal.
It's criminal that you're not wearing sunblock. So it's usually the step that they would skip. Like they might have a 12-step skincare routine, but they skip the SPF. So we leaned into that insight as well, just like we leaned into the e.l.f. pinching for cost crime. And we created a comedy roast, and we roasted the sun. So, yes, we did. We roasted the sun. We had a star-studded comedic act, if you will, and we put the spotlight on SPF, and we roasted the sun for what it does to our skin, and it was incredible. We just released it 2 days ago, and incredibly proud of the set. It's been really positively received, but I think more than anything, it's created a channel of entertainment, if you will, around a very serious topic, actually. But this will really get the attention, I feel, of Gen Z finally to wear their SPF.
Sure. Yes, wear your SPF.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so smart, but also in the spirit of what e.l.f. does for the community. I mean, it's again an authentic way to show up, educate your audience.
Absolutely.
You're such a beloved brand by that community. They're going to listen to you. So
Absolutely. It's
admirable.
part of, we actually created an entertainment arm of e.l.f. last year because we are a brand that feels that we transcend beauty. We transcend the product that you're coming. It's not transactional when you're actually interacting with e.l.f. It's become something that's transformative for you because we are your friend. And oftentimes they will refer to us as besties or elfies, which is a term that actually our community came up with. I didn't come up with that. I wish I could have. They come up with that and they say, we're elfies. And it's really beloved when you can see your community rally behind you. And so a lot of what we do behind putting our campaigns out or products out is actually just an echo of what our community is feeding us, but also it's channeling it back to them.
Yep. Love that. I've heard there's a lot of elfisms.
There are a lot of elfisms.
What's your favorite?
Why the elf not? So an elfism, if you haven't realized by now, we've created our own vernacular that our community gets behind, but it's just another way of dropping an F-bomb without dropping the F-bomb.
I love
So you
that.
drop elf bombs.
Elf bombs. All right, we have a couple minutes left. Let's end with a quick lightning round.
Sure.
Favorite lip shade?
Oh, okay. I would say no regrets. Today I'm wearing Shameless.
Okay, very good.
Very fitting for Cannes.
Yes. What is the last show that you binged in all of your free time?
Last show that I binged. Well, I am a Pedro Pascal fan.
Oh, okay.
So Narcos.
Nice.
I rewatched it. It's not the first time I discovered it.
It's good to repeat shows. We just finished Friends and Neighbors, so
Oh.
that was my latest.
That's on my list.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Best summer read, or what are you reading this summer?
I'm reading right now Sanjay Gupta's 12 Weeks to a Sharper Mind. If you work at the speed that we work, you also need to make sure that you're finding the balance.
Yep, very good. What is your favorite place to be? Where do you feel most alive or yourself?
I would say with my kids. I hope they're watching.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
My kids are 5 and 7, and they do e.l.f. pinch for me all the time.
Love that. Last question. A leader that you admire.
You know, there's a lot of leaders I admire. The one right now that's hot on my list because I'm so incredibly proud of the fact that we are up for a titanium lion
Congratulations.
and a glass lion. And I think at this point we've been shortlisted for 7 or 8 awards.
Amazing.
Is Corey Marchesotto, my CMO. I'm honestly is so in awe of her. And oftentimes when we think about how we can do the things that we do at e.l.f., it's because she's built an incredible team of unicorns to be able to dream up everything that behind Eyes, Lip, Face.
Amazing. Well, keep up the great work. We are all proud to watch this journey of e.l.f. and be part of your
Thank
community.
you.
It is just
Thank you.
amazing what you are all doing. And good luck on the awards.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Laurie.
Thank you.